Get ready for a new level of freedom. And it's not just when you're going to get married. That's a whole new level, another level of freedom, which we're going to talk about. But we're talking about a new level of freedom today. We're going to talk about what that is and how to get it. But before we do...
Hey, we're Terrence and Jill of God-ordained union. And we're here to do one thing and one thing only. And that is to help increase God-ordained unions.
Yes, yes. So if you are single and you desire marriage and you're wondering why it's taking so long, why you haven't been able to get it, what's wrong with you, why don't they like me, what am I doing wrong, you know, why is it taking so long?
Am I the only one going through this?
Yes.
Does anybody understand?
Yes.
What have I done to make God mad at me?
Yes.
All those things, if you're thinking any of that, we know exactly where you are.
Yep.
We've been there, done that.
Yes, you're on the right channel. I was 48 when I came across Terrence's profile on a dating app, which I did not know. The profile was outdated. He hadn't been on that site for 5 years, and they were running his profile fraud. So they was running his profile. So I came across his profile. I did not actually meet Terrence until, we started talking when I was almost 50. So almost 2 years later. We talked for almost a year, long distance. I was mid-50 when we met face-to-face. 6 months after we met face-to-face, Terrence proposed. I was 51 when Terrence proposed, just at 51, and 52 when we got married.
I was 54 when we got married.
Yep, and I had never been married, never had any children, never had a proposal. I wanted biological children. It just didn't happen. I later found out there were so many blocks on me, 3 main blocks that were on me that were preventing me, not from just finding my person, but getting a lot of the things in life that the Lord had wanted me to have that I didn't get it. But God's grace and mercy, when I tell you, He's going to redeem the time and He's going to redeem what you lost. He will bring it around, which is a whole nother video that I actually came to Charlotte in 1995, 25 years prior, and not living too far from Terrence. But it just did not happen. I did not know who this person was, but God brought him back in 25 years later. So we know what you're going through, how you're feeling. You might be feeling so many different feelings. You're on the right channel.
Yes.
It is for singles. I mean, if you're married, you're welcome to listen in, but this channel is for singles because we don't give relationship advice. What people really don't realize is that marriage is really about an individual person being in union with another individual person. So on this channel, we help you to see some things that could be blocking you. We also encourage you on this channel. So go to the description, find out when we do pre-recorded videos like this, when we go live, when we meet in our private group. You're welcome to join our private group. When we do one-on-ones, you'll learn more about our ebook that's below. Also, you'll learn about we participate in a prayer call every single week on Fridays into midnight. There's a glare in your glasses. Also, we have an ebook. Ladies, we highly recommend that you get this ebook. Talk about some of the things that are blocking you and how to get unstuck and all of that. Also, follow us on IG and Instagram and TikTok to see our day-to-day if you want to get to know us a little bit more personally. And also, we've partnered with eHarmony. So if you want to see who you're compatible with, you can search your matches for free. That link is also in the descriptions. Okay, so if this is your first time joining us, again, welcome. There's a video, the last pre-recorded video we did, we talked about a lot of successful people are being blocked, that success is blocking them from marriage. Not that you can't have success, but it's the attachment and it's the motive and the all of that that drives the success and that sustains the success is a lot of times what is blocking. But that video was actually prompted because we got an email from a super successful woman who said to me, to Jill, I mean, basically, your marriage is beautiful, but this is what she said, what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to abandon myself to be married. And so she took and interpreted how my life went, because I've had a few successes myself. She took my life and how we talk on this story, which she probably got it in pieces, that I abandoned my successes, which she assumed that I was attached to my successes and for marriage. And that just wasn't true. But we want to tell you, so we did a video on that. We highly recommend that you go back and watch that video. We will put it up here at the end of this video. But we want to tell you that freedom, when you're talking about holding on to self for the sake of love, or holding on to self instead of getting love because you don't want to quote unquote abandon yourself. If you are so attached to self, even in your singlehood, and you cannot even evolve during your singlehood, there's so many levels in evolvement that needs to happen even in your singlehood. But if you're holding on to self so long, it's a wonder why a lot of you feel like you're stuck and you're unhappy and you can't even enjoy girlfriends or enjoy traveling because you're so stuck and you're so stuck on yourself and you're so...
Yeah, you putting so much value on something that you think you have accumulated or you have gotten over the years that you don't want to let go of that.
And you think it's all that bag of chips.
Yeah, you think that's preventing you from being yourself, and you don't want to sell out, so to speak.
Right.
But what you don't understand is, in order for you to advance to the next level in what God has for you, you're going to have to surrender to self in order to allow God to be God.
Right.
And so you're not selling out to self. You're preventing God from doing the things for you that he wants to do for you, because you're in the way.
Right. You've got to free yourself, because you can't even go to your next level in being single until you free yourself. And so you made a good point. One of the points I want to make before we talk about all the freedoms that come with marriage, one of the points is that you have to surrender. You made that point. You have to surrender. You got to release control of who you think you are now. In order to be the next version of you, you've got to relinquish control. That's like we talked about in that other video about motherhood. Even motherhood it's a growth process. It happens in growth seasons. Even in motherhood, a mother just does not stay a mother of an infant. That infant grows. Her mothering grows. Soon the mother is going to be an empty nester. But can you imagine if she said, no, I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. You were preventing that infant from growing. You're preventing yourself from knowing the mother that you are to an infant. You don't know the version of the mother to a teenager. And so you're holding on to self and you're preventing yourself. So you got to free yourself. So first thing to start is by surrendering. Surrendering to the Lord's perfect will. Lord, whatever you want from me, I surrender control. I release and relinquish control. I release control of it, the what, the who, the when, the where, the why, the how. And when you do that, the fruit of the Spirit, self-control, comes into play. Because what self-control does is that it helps you to be able to control your emotions and your anxiety and how you respond to things, how you respond to life. And so that is one of the points, first points I want to make. Second point.
Well, before you go on, let me say this. That also looks like you're getting all the narratives out your head. All the stories that you're trying to control the narrative of saying this person has to be this, or people going to have to accept me the way I am, or I ain't going to do this.
Right.
You have to get out your own way and let those narratives go and allow God to be God. And as you do that, he's going to write your story for you.
Yes. Yes.
You get to tell the story. But you need to allow him to be the author of it.
Yes, you get to live the story. You get to live the story.
Yes.
The second point I want to make is that in freeing yourself before you can even get to marriage, free yourself now. The second point I want to make is you have to renew your mind. So many of you are in scarcity mindsets, and so you cannot get the abundance that God has for you. You're thinking, I don't have enough time. There's not enough good men out there. There's not enough women out there. That is an indication that you have a scarcity mindset. You have not even tapped into the abundance. Once you tap into abundance, that is freedom. You have no limitations on what God can do. You have no limitations on what God is. You're walking in abundance. So if you have not renewed your mind and you are subscribing to scarcity God or limitations God or God that's only limited to your limitations, let me tell you something. You ain't even, you can't even get to marriage, because marriage comes with a whole nother level of freedom. And the third point I want to make before we talk about the freedoms in marriage is that every day you have to get up and you have to give God permission to operate in your life. You have to give him permission to order your steps, because what's happening is that you're operating your life. You're not even free to go where you need to go to meet your person. You got so many, like, I can't be going there because, because my religion say, I can't go there. There's so many people who don't even have the freedom to go on a dating app. They don't have the freedom to do that because they think that it's something wrong with it.
You're letting society tell you how to live.
Right.
Rather than what the word says.
Right. He gives you permission you give him permission to order your steps. You can meet your person everywhere. But there's so many people are so bound that they only think that their husband or wife is going to come at not just in church, but just their church. Just their church. That you talk about being bound. Free yourself.
Free yourself.
Because
you could be walking past that person every day
at the bus stop, on the train. Because you have limited yourself to where God can operate. So before we can even talk about, before you can even experience freedom in marriage, because what's going to happen is that if you are operating now in your singlehood as limited and as bound, what you're going to do is you're going to attract that type of person. So you're both going to be limited and bound. You'll meet your person who's not ordained by God, who you're going to marry this person and you're going to get in this relationship and you're going to still feel like something is missing. You're not going to have the freedom. And then at that point, you're going to really be stuck. And those are the type of people that say, girl, don't give up your freedom. I've been there, done that. I was married for 27 years and don't give up your freedom. Don't give up your freedom, because they never experienced true freedom because they never walked in freedom as a single person. They've never walked in freedom. So you can do that today.
That's a lot said.
Yes. So when you get to marriage, there's a whole level of freedom you have even yet to tap into. Yeah. It took me to 50 years old.
Go ahead.
It took me to 50 years old, 52, to really experience freedom.
And there's freedoms that you don't really know exist because you've never been married, most of you. And so you have no idea they exist until you get married and you step across that. Person. And then all of a sudden, these things open up to you. You're like, wait a minute.
Right.
How in the world did I not experience this all these years until now?
Yeah.
It puts you on a whole nother level of joy, Okay, so before I do that, though, I want to share our scripture. We got a foundation scripture for you. I'm going to share Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 first. Okay, just to prep this, that's the verse that says two are better than one. Okay, that's the verse, that's the scripture that says two are better than one. But the true foundation for this is Ecclesiastes 4:10. I want y'all to hear the verse that's after that. That verse says, "For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not any other to help him up." You want to have that other person. It is so much more that you have at your disposal. The freedoms that you're about to learn, okay? There's so many freedoms. And I'm going to share with you what I've experienced in my marriage. Okay, in this marriage. I'm going to share with you what I've experienced. She's going to share what she's experienced, okay? Number one, I've experienced the freedom to be creative. You know, our Father is a creator.
And we made in his image.
And we're made in his image. So we get to create. And I mean, that's even including your gifts, talents, and skills.
Yes.
But it's being a creator and being able to share that with her and allow her to say, yes, I love that. Somebody that's going to, y'all have heard us talk about her speaking to the king, or women speaking to the king and the man. When it comes to being creative, that's one way to open up and unlock that freedom to be creative and do the things that God has placed in our hearts to do, is to have the right person with you and be able to share those creatives, those ideas. And they say, yes, let's do this. Yes, I believe in you. Yes, you can make it happen. To be creative is a whole freedom that we've never experienced before. We're always too worried about what people think.
But not only that, for me, it was just the time to create. Like, I didn't have the time and the capacity to create because I was doing everything myself. I was, so my Saturdays and Sundays, Saturdays were more about sleeping in, and Sundays was about getting ready for the next work, but I didn't have a lot because I had to do everything myself. I had to do all the groceries. So I didn't have the capacity to create. And so when we don't have the capacity to create, and that's one of the reasons why the enemy wants you to stay single. Because the Ecclesiastes said, when one is up, so there's Saturday mornings I can get up now. And even Saturdays, like there's days where Terrence can cook all day and bake. And he made some brownies with some black beans. Just created that. And even writing his book. Like, before, you didn't have the capacity to create.
Yeah, you got to find time to even let those ideas mature into something that you actually can see yourself doing.
Yeah. So now, I can, while Terrence is doing yard work or washing the cars, things I had to used to do myself, I can now sit and create content and create thumbnails and create, the notes for, videos. I can create. I can, we can work on the projects, the upcoming 27, fiscal year 27 projects. We have the ability now to create. Yeah,
absolutely. Here's one that's really huge. Number two. Well, they're all huge, but number two is the freedom to be the masculine me. Men were created and built to protect, to provide, and it feels good to be able to protect someone and feel the freedom of being able to provide, for someone. And that's huge. I love opening the door for her. I love her not carrying groceries. I make sure she don't. Look, you go in the house. I got this. I love being able to do things for her that lets my masculinity, be the best that it can be. And you can't do that when you're single because you ain't got nobody.
Yeah, it's not landing.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. And contrast for that is, I'm in my soft girl era. Like, seriously. Like, I thought, I told Terrence, when we first started dating, which I didn't really even realize we were dating. But I remember one time Terrence came up to Raleigh, and I knew that it was something about this guy because I fell asleep on his shoulder. I fell asleep. We were watching a movie, and I fell asleep on his shoulder. In my family, has always been strong Jill. Always been strong Jill. I look out for everybody, from the parents on down, from the grandparents on down. Like, looking out for everybody, making sure everybody good. So when Terrence came along, I was allowed to be soft Jill. I didn't have to be the strong Jill. I was always the driver, the designated driver. Whenever, I remember one of my elderly aunts passed away, and I drove my other elderly aunt and my grandfather, drove them all the way to South Carolina from Maryland. They were coming from New York and Maryland. And my grandfather always said, Jill got us. And just always having to be the designated driver and the provider and the one. Yeah. And so now, like that, I now have the freedom to enjoy the view. Since we've been together, when me and Terrence are in the car together, I may have driven one time. And that's when we were home in my hometown of Maryland, because I knew where we were going. But I don't have to drive. I don't have to. I can really, truly be soft Jill. I don't carry bags and groceries. I mean, I'm just saying, I can be, and I'm loving the freedom in this soft girl era. I don't have to worry about X, Y. I just don't. Like, my husband does so much now. It's freedom and being able to release and let a lot of things go. And you can argue all you want. Well, that's a man's job or a woman's job. And, both can do what? Not for Jill. Just not for Jill. I've experienced both sides of it, and I like this side better. It is a freedom to just not have to be worried and just carry the load physically, mentally, emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah. The third thing, and it goes right into what we're talking about now, is really experiencing things, new things. Think about how many of y'all would love to travel, but you don't want to do it by yourself, at least not out there. You may travel from state to state, but some of you want to get out the country. Some of you want to go on cruises, but you're like, do I really want to do it by myself?
And that's the thing, because we got to say this, because there's a lot of, and I don't mean to cut you off, but y'all doing y'all thing. Y'all are traveling. A lot of y'all singles are traveling all over the world. A lot of it. But I can guarantee you, there's some places that you have limited yourself from going because you said you want to go with your person.
And look, it makes sense. It makes sense, because I'm going to tell you, when we first started dating, or the first time she came down here and I took her around to see my family, one of the places I took her was a place I like to go. And I told her, I said, I just can't bring anybody to this spot, because I believe that this should be held for the right person that I'm going to be with. I don't want to do some things and experience some things with the wrong person, and I don't get out of it, or it doesn't mean the same. I remember one time my brother told me he went somewhere, and, it's a place that everybody loves to go. But he came back and he was saying how he didn't have a great time, how it's not like everybody say it. And I looked and I thought, and I didn't say this to him at the time, but when I was sharing this with Jill, the thought came and I shared it with her. And I said, I wonder, do he realize it wasn't the place? It was the fact that he went with the wrong person.
Right. He couldn't even have the freedom to experience.
He didn't have the freedom,
that beautiful place,
to experience it for what it is, because he was with the wrong person. That distorts your freedom to enjoy wherever you are. Mm-hmm. It's a whole nother experience when you're with the right person.
When you with your person, experiencing things hit differently. Yes. You're more free to experience some things that you just couldn't. It was limited when you were single. I mean, it just, and not just that, experiencing some things, but it's even having the finances to even do it. There's some, and the time to do it.
And even just to share it with the right person, just to be able to share some of your thoughts and what you're seeing and what you're feeling, to be able to just share that experience with somebody that is that important to you, that it makes a whole nother difference in the level of that you're experiencing.
Right. Number 3.
Yes. Number 3 is, and that was number 3. Number 4 is, I'm going to say, this is a big one. Releasing something that you've held in so long. What I mean by that?
The freedom to release.
The freedom to share some things, whether it's traumas that's happened to you when you was a child, something that you have suppressed and you kept deep down and you've never told any single person. Being married to the right person allows you the freedom to be able to relinquish that and get it off your chest, get that burden off. Do you know how much weight you can let off yourself by being able to share some stuff that you've been holding in because you don't want to share with the wrong person and they take advantage of you and put it out there? And look, I remember years ago when she and I first met, I went to this men's retreat for the weekend. And the one thing that I learned at this retreat is that 1 out of 6 boys are abused. Sexually abused. 1 out of 6. So can you imagine how many of those young boys grow up to be men and they've never told anybody because they haven't felt safe or they haven't felt close enough to someone to be able to tell. And they held it in and they suppressed it. And so you talk about people walking around not being healed. That's an example of somebody not having a person to share this with and being married. Being married to the right person gives them that person to be able to share that, to at least get it out.
Right.
Take that out of the inside so it stops eating them up and allow them a chance to heal in an area where they've never had the opportunity to heal from.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. When we got married, I was more vulnerable. I was able to be vulnerable. And I was able to really release like a lot of emotions and things that I was able to share with Terrence, those things of why I was holding unforgiveness, and I was able to release that. And it was like, it gave a lot of freedom and healing. That's why you'll hear a lot of people say, when you get married, there is a level of healing that comes as well. And I believe this is what they were referring to. It's the freedom to get it out with someone you trust, someone you know that you're safe with, and that they're not going to hold it against you. It's a freedom to let those things release out of you.
Absolutely. Another one is, the freedom to strategize, for wealth building. How many times do you just feel like nobody's going to understand you? You're in this by yourself and you don't think you can make it work because of the limitations that you feel is on you. Those limitations are removed.
Yeah, it's God's math.
After getting married, God's math is on a whole nother level. It's stuff that they don't even teach us God's math in school.
God's math is different. And even as a single person, it's like your wealth. I mean, you could be the most wealthy, but there's a limitation on it because there's loneliness that comes on top of that. People don't want to admit it, but there's a lot of things. And as you were saying, strategize. Like you're only working with one mind. It goes back to the Ecclesiastes. So your wealth can only go but so far because you're only working with one mind. But if you put 2 together, God's math does not double. It doesn't just multiply. It's a fold. So the 2 of us, what that scripture says, 1 can chase 1,000 and 2 can put 10,000.
It didn't even double.
It didn't even double.
Yeah.
So to build wealth together, Jill, you built little 6 figures on your own. So what?
Yeah.
The 2 of us together
so far beyond.
Is a different type of math. So the freedom to be able to build wealth, and we can't leave this number without talking about there's so many people bound, which goes back to that lady who emailed us about her wealth, her successes. Everything was she told us how much money in annuity she gets just from her multi-millions. She told us how much payout she gets annually. She gave it down to the number. But this is how she can't even be free in that, because she's saying that she's bound by her money, because she's saying that the future husband who she gets she said she'll be willing to share some of it. But so what's happening is that the more single people go in wealth, the more they're bound in, but what if I get married and I'm gonna have to share this amount with them? But it's such limitations. What if I don't want to have to share my wealth. I don't want to have to give it. And all of these are limitations. You can't even be free to make money because you're thinking about what will happen to your money if somebody came into your life. All of that is being bound. This woman was so bound she's so bound in herself and in her money that her money, I think, is capped at $5,000. I think she said she made $5,000 and she's good and she's willing to share her wealth, but there's no freedom to.
Right now, where she is in her life, all of her accolades are controlling her life because she is threatened that she can't lose any of those because her identity is attached to those things that she's already accumulated.
And her money.
She even said that she needs a man that's going to fit into the house that she's already building before she even meet the husband, where she's going to build his man cave and all of that already into the house. So when he comes, everything's set so he can walk right in it. Now, let me ask y'all something. And it's not to dog her out, but it's just to ask a question. How many of y'all have said, you don't want a man to have a house built and all of this, and he fits you right in to play a part?
She said she'll give him his own study. She said, I'm willing to share my wealth, but goes back to the points I was making. This is a scarcity mindset. I don't care how much money and accolades you got a scarcity mindset, because she never thought about what if the man came and had more wealth than her. She thought about these men that's coming
only if she's the breadwinner.
She's the breadwinner.
And what she has, not what they're bringing to the table.
Not what they bring to the table. She can't even think of a man that will have more than her. It's all about everything she has, which is a limitation. She doesn't even have freedom of thought, freedom to strategize and say, well, even if my husband comes in, we're going to make this amount. She's not even free to even think to that capacity.
Yeah. So the next freedom that you're
what number is that?
We're going to go to number 7 right now. Okay. I'm going to skip this. I'm going to come back to this.
Okay.
Number 7 is going to be to be your authentic self. And what I mean by that, to be not only who God created you to be, but be fully known by the other person and accepted.
Yeah.
That woman right there is a perfect example. The way she wrote that letter with all of her accolades and then sent us proof was almost like she was asking us to accept her. She was trying to prove to us that she had done everything that she was supposed to do and that she deserved the right to do whatever she was going to do. And she does. Anybody can be anything. We can't tell you what to be or who to be. But she also proved that she's not free. With all of those accolades, she ain't free. She's subject to those accolades every day. If I do this, I'm going to interfere with this, so I can't do it. If I do that, I'm going to interfere with that. I can't do it. In order to do this, I got to stay here. In order to do that, she's got all these limitations on her because her identity is wrapped up into everything that she's already done, to where she doesn't even know how she's going to move forward with the person that God has for her, because she don't know how that person is going to be there if they don't accept what she's already done.
But even just someone who does not have all those accolades, the freedom to be your authentic self, let me tell you
and
something.
Know that you are accepted just as you are.
So many women are walking around, and men, trying to be something that they're not because they quote unquote want to be picked. They want to be noticed. Once you get married and get your person, the freedom that comes with, and I'm not saying letting yourself go as far as your appearance and stuff, but you're free to, you could be yourself. You could be your goofy, pull your hair back in the ponytail self. You could be your true, authentic, goofy, laughable.
You can relax. Take a deep breath. And enjoy everything that you built up to this point.
And know that because it's God ordained your person, that he ain't going to run when you gain 15, 20, 25 pounds. Knowing that he's not going to run, she's not going to run if you lose your job and you lose an income. Knowing that she's not going to run is because you can be yourself. Even, if he came and said, listen, I know, this income is I'm the provider and I'm the making more and this, but I really feel like I want to write this book full time. And this is a part of, I want to explore this person. He can be his true, authentic self. And we could be our true, authentic selves. We don't have to, perform because.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. The next one I'm going to share with you is you can be intimate with someone.
Sexual freedom,
making love and being with that person and knowing that you can just be your true self and free to just
explore one another
and not be against any rule or whatever. You are free.
No condemnation.
You got the freedom to just say, I can relax
no defilement,
now. And be, yes.
Yeah, you could be, the bedroom is undefiled. Just having sexual freedom. And absolutely. I mean, and even with that comes like I can be free to walk around in my birthday suit and just free to just be okay. I mean, now don't get me wrong. It's taking a while to get there because I don't like being exposed, period, even in front of myself. But just the freedom that comes with that, like I can relax, like I can, walk around, nude or whatever. That's a level of freedom that, and know that I'm secure, know that my husband has me, know that we're secure in this house and I could walk around and, he got me. And so, that's a level of freedom. And my husband come out the back. I'm like, it's like, okay, like we started this already. Like this is like the first week of marriage. Like I'm like, okay. It's a freedom in it. It's beautiful.
It's a freedom to be who you are and not be ashamed of who you are. Not feel like you're having to prove yourself, that you don't fit in, that there's somebody's holding against you.
Yeah, Terrence said from day one, he was like, we got to sleep nude. I'm like, I need some more because this is what I built in my singleness. Anybody can knock on the door and I'm gonna need to be fully clothed. I'm by myself. So, anybody can come in them doors and, I need to have, so I've learned to go to bed fully clothed, like not fully clothed, but like where I can get up and answer my door and be covered. Like I can jump right out the bed. And so when it came to marriage, like my husband gave me a whole nother perspective. Like, no, we're sleeping in the nude. Like it's a freedom to take them clothes off. Like it doesn't mean we sexing it up every single minute. It means that there's a freedom. Like let yourself loose. Yeah. And it's taken.
If you look it up, it shows where the marriages that are the healthiest is when your bodies, men and women, do something for each other. And there's so many people 10, 15, 20 years into marriage wondering why they lost the spark. And it's because they're not allow what God already created to take place with how their bodies respond to one another. So because they putting so many things in between them and the other person. Yeah. So it's just a matter of saying, we have this thing that our bodies naturally do, the chemistry that our bodies naturally go through so, she knows as my wife, she turns me on. She knows as my wife that I'm in love with her, that she turns, so it's one of those things where it's something that you can add to without you having to verbally say it.
And I can have the freedom to say, listen, if somebody knock on that door, I ain't got to get up. I got a husband that's going to go there. He got to go find a robe. He got to go find a pajama pants. He got to go, it's like, this is a freedom in that. Like I can relinquish and I can just be in my whole Garden of Eden attire.
And the last one that I'm going to share with you in this video, or we're going to share with you in this video, is the fact that you get to walk in your purpose. The freedom to walk in your purpose. You can share what the Holy Spirit's placed in your heart to do without somebody always trying to say you ain't hearing it right, or you're wrong, or ain't nobody talking to you, or no, you got the freedom to be exactly who God created you to be and do what you're supposed to do. And the person that's going to do it with you is right there with you.
And that's a good point, because I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when marriage is to death do you part. So that covenant, that attachment is here for life, for the rest of your life. When you're single, what your quote unquote purpose, and a lot of people get purpose mixed up with position and assignment. Whatever that assignment, the purpose for that assignment is for in your single season, it is limited for that season. And so what happens is that you don't really have, those of us who understand this, you don't really have the freedom, the 100% freedom to go all in your purpose in your single season, because it's going to end soon. So that it's going, but once you get married, once you say, okay, I am, settled into my marriage, so we can go all out, we can be free to travel the world or whatever we need to do in the purpose God has given you. It is a level of freedom. It's just like saying you're renting an apartment. As long as you're renting an apartment, it's just temporary. You can't do but too much. You can't drill holes in it. I mean, even though people do, but you can't paint the whole apartment. It's not yours.
Yeah, you can't cook out on the balcony.
You can't do all of that stuff because it's not yours. So although your purpose for being there, you're going to enjoy some things because that's the purpose for being there for that season. That you can't do these things until you get to your house. Right. And so there is a level of freedom once you get married. Once you're married, the purpose, the assignment goes to a whole nother level where you can now relax in it and you can really steward the people who God has for you, and without limitations, without thought, and without, well, when is my husband going to come? When is my wife going to come? I'm love doing this right here, right now, but when is, so you do have a level of freedom and purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So
there's been a lot said.
Yeah.
But we ask that you put your comments in. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you're going through. Tell us what this has triggered you to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. Because those of you who feel like, I don't want to get married because I don't want to give up my freedom. You have no idea. That means you have either a limited mindset and or you were married before to the wrong person. And what it did is that it reinforced your limitations. Mm-hmm. And so you're looking at your singlehood as freedom when actually there's a lot more abundance. There's a lot more freedom in marriage. You get, you really, now Paul did talk about when you're single, you can, do this, or this, but those are for people who don't want marriage. If you don't want marriage, there's a level of freedom and singleness that's wide open. But for those of you who do want marriage, you're talking out the two sides of your mouth. You want marriage, but you thinking single is your freedom. And that goes back to having a limited mindset. So you need to renew your mind in that area.
And a very closed mindset.
A very closed mindset.
First of all, you have to even believe that God exists.
And that he's a rewarder.
Before you can do anything else. Before you can unlock anything else. So if you say you believe that, then you're very limited if you're thinking that there's nothing he can do that's greater than what you're already doing for yourself.
Wow.
Especially when you're not even where you want to be. So,
wow.
With that being said, we pray that this sends you back to the Word of God, what it says about your personal situation.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you guys in our next video.
Yes. Be blessed.
Peace.
Peace.